So there we are going in. We have Mathmech versus the... Oh, very strong handshake here. Nice way to start the game off. We have Jack Vermeer on Tearlament, but not any Tearlament variant. It is an Adventure, Danger, and also a Scareclaw engine Tearlament.
This
so
deck is packed.
Everything. Earlier I said you can only have that many engines, but he has them all. And on the other hand, we can see Mathmech. And now we are bridging with Small World from Veiler to Nibiru, and Nibiru will search out Mathmech Circular, the heart and soul of the Mathmech strategy. And this card alone is a powerhouse.
Indeed it is. And you would think that Jack Vermeer, with so many different engines in his deck, could not really fit in any hand interactions anymore. But he does have actually... he does have infinite impermanence, 3 copies of it. Also triple Ghost Mourner and Moonlight Chill, which is very interesting to see in my opinion, because he valued that higher than Veilers, than Ashes or something. Pretty interesting call there. But Luke doesn't care right now. He's just resolving his Mathmech Circular. As you said already, the heart and soul.
Yep. It sends for cost, so the Sigma was sent to the graveyard immediately when Mathmech Circular was revealed in hand for activation. Sigma is sent to the GY. Sigma is going to be able to special summon itself back from the GY as long as there are no monsters in the extra monster zone, and this shall trigger the Mathmech Circular afterwards, searching for a Mathmech Spell and Trap, and one of those Spell and Traps can be Mathmech Super Factorial, a crazy strong card.
Indeed, it can
summons out Mathmech Laplation, which is basically a Trishula on 2 legs.
Yep. And I'm glad we actually fixed the camera for Jack, because he's not only one of the biggest names in Yu-Gi-Oh, but he's also one of the biggest persons in Yu-Gi-Oh, and therefore he was actually over our camera, but now we have him in the face cam as well, and I'm happy to see that. And Jack is actually reading up on the Mathmech cards, which I'm a little bit surprised about, because this deck was actually performing quite well this event. Honestly, we walked through the top tables, and of course we had a lot of Tier, we had a lot of Sprite Runic as well.
We had a lot of Runic Sprite.
Of course. But then after that, we actually saw quite a few Mathmech and also quite a few Flunder decks. So,
but if he doesn't know the deck, then he's throwing Mathmech Impermanence, Infinite Impermanence onto the Circular, and this might actually punish him afterwards, because now he's going to summon the Dalimbertian. And this one gets Moonlit Shield as well, so he has double hand trap in his big combo pile deck. And this is normal summon
hard draw Diameter.
This is really hard for him. So Luke is probably not going to be able to access the Super Factorial this turn. However, he can still go for some good link plays after this.
Yep, and Jack is reading back up on the Mathmech Circular, and he's realizing, okay, he will not be able to resolve the search effect, because that is only hard once per turn for sure. But still, there's the extra deck now. But there is the Nibiru. We're not going to see the extra deck either. Triple hand trap. I didn't even see the Nibiru in the deck list of Jack. But there's another hand trap he managed to fit in, and it is Nibiru.
On the 5th summon, like, Mathmech is really good at playing through hand traps, but it's not that good. Triple hand trap in 1 turn, Impermanence, Moonlit Chill, and Nibiru is rough to play through.
However, double back row.
Sets 2 cards, and if one of those is Super Factorial, then this is going to be a big power turn for Luke, because Jack also has to play with only 3 cards now. He's drawing the 3rd one for turn, and let's see what he is holding there.
It's pretty tough for decks that have so many different engines, because you might sometimes just draw different parts of different engines which don't work together, but he is able to activate Chiron and even has a discard.
Chiron, what does he mill? He mills the Nessie, so can he actually fusion summon from the GY while activating the Chiron that he just discarded. Yeah, and he is going to go for a Kid Colossus, I'm pretty sure. He can also access Garura with this, but he's probably not going to.
Indeed, and if you have Super Factorial, you probably just drop it now on the Kid Colossus. I mean, you can let him have... Oh, is it the Super Factorial?
It is Impermanence, which is also really good, because it stops Jack from playing a lot here.
Still, this does not get you back into your own engine, right? So
that's true.
It's not doing the same as Super Factorial, because even if Jack is stopped here, there is still the struggle. Oh, there's Visa Starfrost now as well.
Starfrost as the last card in hand. Jack actually going in with the God hand this time, and Visa Starfrost means trouble.
So and it does also trigger the Kid Colossus.
Enchantress and Harvness. Jack is actually actually comboing off so hard with so few cards. He can search out the Rite of Aramesia. He has not used a normal summon monster effect this turn. He can fusion with the Harvest, and this has to be a really powerful back row card to get Luke back into this game.
Incredible what Jack is doing there. And also, he actually made the call to not only play Wandering Griffin Rider or the Illegal Knight that he milled, he plays both, and therefore he actually has something to search for, but he has the Super Factorial set!
I'm still not sure whether this is enough, I gotta be honest with you. However, this is the best card he could have asked for. This can secure him maybe another turn. He is going in for the Laplation, which does not even take away a card from his opponent's hand.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what makes me a little bit skeptical about the play. Why didn't you do the Super Factorial on the kit colors? Because he would have gotten rid of it, the Visa Starforce could have not popped it, and I think in the end that would have turned out to be a lot better for him. But of course he didn't see the Visa Starfrost coming in the first place, I think. I don't know
there
whether
is
he saw
another
it
card
coming.
in hand, right? Because he only detached one. Wait. Detaching one sends one random card from your opponent's hand to the GY. So he would have... I don't even know if he can activate the effect if he can't activate the first one. Because it says detach... Wait, I'm not really sure about this. Can he detach two if he does not activate the first effect as well? And maybe
the judges will take care of it, and it looks like the effect was activated. And I mean, we have judges standing by, so I'm pretty sure that is going to work.
So he did not activate the Harvest in the GY? Or did he? I mean...
Doesn't look like it.
He couldn't negate it with Laplation, right?
There is still the Water Enchantress, though. We are still getting to Rite of Aramesia, and we're probably also getting to Draco back, and therefore we still have a way to deal with the rest of the board that Luke has there.
How do you get the Draco back here? Oh, you can go for a Link Summon it. You can just go for a Dark.
For example, and that also gives you another monster on top of that.
I don't know if there is a Dark monster in Luke's graveyard.
That's actually a pretty fair point, yeah. Well, let's see. Jack also only has to overcome 5,000 life points because
could go for a
Luke
Lina if
paid
he
for
has
life
one.
points. Yeah, but let me check the extra deck.
I'm not sure that he's playing Lina.
Probably no space for Lina. No, we have a Dark, I can confirm that, but no Lina in there. I mean, he's playing so many engines, so of course the extra deck space is very, very, very tight.
But in this simple game state, I mean, the token seems to be pretty big. He had to run over the Laplation, so he couldn't get over the token. I think it has a lot of attack points. You can just bounce it with Draco back, by the way.
Yep, there is the Rite of Aramesia.
Having one negation in form of Griffin Rider in this simple game state is crucial.
You would need a discard for your Fateful Adventure, though. I mean, the Link Summon is very, very necessary. It has to be Dark.
Then you can add the Draco
has
back,
to be
right?
Dark, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then, as you say, Luke does not even have a card in hand, right? So every top deck that he could have would then be negated by the Griffin Raider that is still in the deck of Jack. And Jack realized that, of course, he has to go for Link Summon of Dark, even though there are no Dark monsters in the opponent's graveyard.
I think the correct play could have been summoning out the Laplation on the Kid Colors, sending it and one card in the hand to the GY, and then negating the grave effect of Kid Colors.
Yeah, I think so as well, honestly. So we are, of course, bouncing the token with the Draco back. And there's also the Griffin Rider in there. And he is going the defensive route. He's putting the Griffin Rider into defense position. Doesn't want to risk it getting run over next turn.
Yeah, this is not how we do things here. Okay, thank you very much. The GY has to be on top of the deck. And now Luke is drawing his maybe last card in game one. There is another option in his GY, which is Mathmech Sigma, because there is no card in his extra monster zone, so it is an easy special summon.
Oh,
and this is not a circular
from
hand. So if you negate this now, you can destroy it. It goes to the GY, and you then have just like 2 Sigmas in hand. So I think this does not really get him back into this game.
Still, every Mathmech player always top decks Mathmech Circular, I feel like. This is always a rule. And Jack is contemplating, is anything really coming out of this if I'm just negating the Circular? And he is thinking the same as you do, that there is not going to be much trouble if he just negates it right here. And Luke also doesn't look too happy about that negate there.
He can summon the Sigma, but however, this card does not do anything. He just passes the turn. And I think that Jack is not going to have the hardest time closing this one out, as his opponent is only on 5,000 life points, and this is almost 5k already. With the Griffin Rider, it will be even more. Oh wow, he even discards the Harvest in Resolve. That could have triggered, but Jack closes it out and wins game one of this match.
Yep, this looks like a pretty promising deck. We were wondering at the beginning of the event what could be the best Tearlaments variant, because it looked like the weeks before this event that control tier is taking over, just tier decks with a lot of hand traps and playing a really pretty slow approach. But when we're going for this event, I feel like a new combo approach, the Scareclaw approach, is actually taking the upper hand. I feel like a lot of the well-performing Tearlaments players are on that package. And I can't understand why, honestly.
Yeah, there is a reason. People don't expect to get OTK too much in this format, so they are playing rather passively with their cards. Don't invest too much on their resources every turn.
Absolutely.
Try to keep the value going, and then you sometimes just get OTK'd. Like, we have seen this oftentimes now, this tournament with the Scareclaw engine. I mean, 100%. The Scareclaw engine didn't really happen here, and there was not an OTK.
True.
But also hand traps are really strong at this point. Like, if you hand trap your opponent thrice in one turn, then sometimes they just can't play anymore.
Why is it Moonlit, though? I've seen this card a lot today.
Maybe to bridge?
He's not playing Small World, though. Because I'm talking about Jack.
Oh, yeah,
Jack actually decided on playing Moonlit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's actually valuing it higher than cards like Effect Veiler or something, which is a pretty interesting call. But it's not him being the only one. It's actually a couple of players making that decision. So this card is really, really rising in popularity.
Is that a typing thing?
What do you mean, a typing thing?
Or a timeout thing, maybe, because it helps you deal...
Not really, I think, no.
Doesn't even deal damage, right?
Nah. But one thing I really like in the deck list of Jack Vermeer is one of his side cards. And we talked about this card before the event, and it is triple Dark Hole. And Dark Hole, in this format, is probably just better than Raigeki, if you're honest.
It is absolutely better than Raigeki because it clears your own board. Mystic Might is not a problem anymore.
Yeah, and
also sometimes you can just trigger your Tearlaments.
This, and something very, very niche and cool is there as well. You're also doing good versus Ibli, which can be outed like that. You can also out the Idol we had on featured match earlier on yesterday, and this is pretty neat, and I think playing Dark Hole is actually a pretty good call. It's also great versus decks such as Flunder, which is doing really well in this tournament.
Taking out the statue is a huge part of winning against Flunder.
Definitely. So do you think Dark Hole is going to come in this matchup versus Mathmech? Because Mathmech is not really building an impressive board, right?
Yeah, I don't think so, because many of the Mathmech players are summoning Cyber's Wicked in their first turn. And Wicked protects, first of all, it is itself protected from destruction, but also the Cyber's monsters that are pointed to by Wicked from destruction via card effect. And that way, I think that Dark Hole is not going to be the best option for Jack.
Indeed, but there's another option, which is also pretty great going second card, which is also very popular, even in some main decks this weekend, evenly matched. And I think this is way more likely to come in here, and I think it's way more likely to have an impact here in this game too. And I think the players are already ready for this. We are as well, so let's dive into game number 2, Mathmech versus Tearlaments. We talked a lot about the side deck options that Jack has to offer, but also, of course, we have to consider what Luke is bringing in going first. And there's also a couple of things. There's, first of all, a very obvious one, which is a Rivalry of Warlords. We've seen that before. But
this might be an important one. Oh, by the way, look at this.
Oh, we are always starting with the Circular. This is just a rule. You have many cards to search it out because you're also playing Silent Mining and stuff. But still, it's always glued to their opening hand. They don't even need to resolve the search effects. They always just have it. So Circular, Sigma, and we are searching now for the trap.
And this is no triple hand trap. We were discussing Mathmech at Euros and in this tournament, and our opinion has shifted a little bit, right? This deck was great against Sprite before.
Yep.
This deck had a good Sprite matchup. It was easy to win versus the deck. I mean, you didn't always win versus the deck, but the Tearlaments matchup was horrible. And now, this is kind of not always the case anymore.
Yeah.
Because both decks have lost some strength.
Absolutely. Both decks definitely are a little bit slower now. They take more control-y approaches, and therefore the Mathmech deck can actually basically compete on a similar speed level than the other two decks. And
I think it's much faster. This deck can OTK in seconds.
That's the one thing, though. Yeah, it has that OTK aspect that Sprite, for example, is definitely missing. They're sometimes even that battle pace because of the runic engine, so OTK is really not a thing for this deck.
This deck summons out Access Code Talker with 5,300 attack points and
like
double attack just with the Mathmech Circular alone. By the way, how many Parallel Exceeds is he playing? Another card that can easily search out Mathmech Circular because he just has 2 in hand. However, he summons 1 from the hand and activates the effect of Paralytic Seed and Wicked. So there's a lot of searching going on.
Indeed.
And we might actually see a nifty tech card, which I will bring up.
Yeah, do you think it's coming here? I don't know whether that's a matchup, but I mean, it could be because there are 2 different field spells in the deck of Jack Verma.
Yeah,
so
it's not happening.
Meow's Click might be a card you search here, but apparently not.
Yeah, Meow's Click is a card that can be special summoned when your opponent activates a field spell card, and it negates field spell card on your opponent's turn, I think.
Yeah,
we read the card before. I had no idea this existed.
Which, yeah, I had no clue either. But it actually was just reprinted in the Megatins of this year, so it's a recent card for sure, and it is actually not just a card to counter those 2 field spells that Jack is playing, but also, of course, a counterplay to Mystic Mine, a card that honestly haven't had any impact this weekend at all so far. This card has not seen any game wins so far, and we see the Heat Leo plus IP Masquerena play right there.
Yeah, this is the one of the classic openings of the deck, and actually, if you have IP and Heat Leo, you are really happy about this. Or not Heat Leo, Heat Soul.
And I saw the 1 card that Jack picked up there for turn. He drew into the 1 of Instant Fusion, so that's definitely a card he likes to see there.
Instant Fusion is always really annoying for Luke in this situation. This is such a strong card. Decode Talker Heat Soul activates its effect, pays 1000 life points in the probably draw phase of Jack to fetch 1 more card from the top of the deck. And let's check the options that are open for Luke in terms of IP link summons.
Yep, I'm just currently looking into that, and I see there is an Avramax. Of course, you could just spit that out on your opponent's turn. That is an option because naturally those Tearlaments decks struggle to outbat cards. That has always been a big issue. And I think that's even the only option he really has there, because he's not playing Nightmare Unicorn or something, so that should really be it.
I mean, this card can barely be outed by Runic Sprite as well.
True, indeed. So we go for a blind Cosmic Cyclone. What are we targeting there? It is his Super Factorial.
So now he is probably going to summon another Laplation, rip a card from the opponent's hand, and have a Omni Negate because of the Mathmech Diameter that
will be attached, of course.
I can't speak anymore.
But are you happy to hit the Super Factorial there, or would you have rather hit the unknown other set card?
I think it's good. Oh, he's searching for Alimbertion, so he might actually play Skullmaster.
I think I saw Skullmaster in his list.
Skullmaster is really strong. Yes, exactly. He's searching for Skullmaster. This is the one play that you want to have against Tearlaments. Activate Super Factorial basically before anything happens, so you must be really happy that the Cosmic Cyclone hit the Super Factorial.
Yeah, now I'm totally on that train.
You have the Omni Negate on the Alimbertion because Diameter was attached before, and now you can search a generic level 4 monster, which is Skullmaster, that can just negate.
Oh, and there's Rivalry of Warlords as well.
And Rivalry of Warlords is flipped as well, a card that is so crucial against Tearlaments, and Jack just wishes he had kept that Cosmic Cyclone.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Now you are definitely not happy with hitting the Super Factorial because you don't have the Cosmic Cyclone for Rivalry anymore.
You can even protect it if there's another Cosmic Cyclone now, at this point.
Indeed, indeed. But if he would have targeted the Rivalry in the beginning, it would have been gone for sure, because the Negate wasn't there already. But there's Instant Fusion now.
Is being activated. Kid Colossus is going to be summoned. However, I think that the monster summoned by Instant Fusion is not able to attack on the same turn. It cannot attack, yes.
Yep, that's one of the restrictions.
The Omni Negate cannot be baited out by it. Or run over by it. However, the Omni Negate is used, IP is activated, Heat Soul and IP are gone now, and Avramax is going to hit the field next to Rivalry of the Warlords.
That looks pretty good. We see there's Rite of Aramazia in the hand of Jack, but that's not really helping him, because when he summons out the token, there's nothing really else he can summon out to get to that Draco back to outdo Rivalry, so he would need another turn, and I don't think he's going to get another turn versus that Mathmech deck, honestly.
No, Mathmech OTKs really quickly. However, you cannot use the effect of Sigma in the GY when when Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax sticks to the field. But that's the least of your concerns. Like, look at his hand. He has 6 cards in hand. 2 cards were drawn by Heat Soul, and IP Masquerena, no, Cyber's Wicked actually searched
and
for
Jack is picking up the cards!
It is tied 1-1. Luke beating Tearlaments so hard with Rivalry of the Warlords.
This is now an even score here in our top 64 match. Once again, one of the biggest YCSs we ever had here in Europe, and therefore we had 12 rounds of Swiss, followed by top 64. It's always great to have a bigger top cut because we will have more players in it. So
love it. One more round of Yu-Gi-Oh, guys. One more round of Yu-Gi-Oh.
And more people have the privilege to call themselves, I have topped that event. They are actually topping an event, and it's double the number of players actually topping. And therefore we have now that one final game here. Thank you very much. I did quick math, and there we are. There we are. And Luke really showing us that Mathmech can compete in the current metagame for sure.
Absolutely, even against the worst matchup that you thought before this tournament.
Yes.
Because it is actually a little bit more difficult versus Runic Spread. Can we just look at his deck and see if he has any answers to like the Runic cards, if he's playing some kind of way to some... Oh, he's playing Retaliating Sea, which is basically Shifter when a spell is activated to summon out Hugin.
Which is very good versus that Runic deck.
And you can search for Max C when
and
it
also,
gets
like, he's main decking double Cosmic Cyclone, he's main decking triple Droll and Lockbird, so actually he's targeting that matchup quite heavily, and maybe he anticipated a lot of Runic Sprites, so he made the correct call on that. But now he sits here in top 64 versus Danger Tearlaments with a Scarecrow engine. So is that really the deck he wants to face?
I don't think that you want to run the Cosmic Cyclone into this.
Not
anymore.
bad. But the Droll and Lockbird on the other hand seems quite good versus it.
Yeah, you search a lot with the Scarecrow engine, and you have Terraforming. Hitting it on a Terraforming would be perfect. However, the field spells search as well. So
also just hit it after a Danger or something. I mean, there are pretty good applications for the Droll and Lockbird. So I'm pretty sure he's wishing for a Droll and Lockbird here in that game number 3.
Because if Jack does not set up a big board on his first turn, if he chooses to go first, then Mathmech will very likely OTK unless Jack has triple hand trip again.
Yeah, and the sheer amount of hand interactions that the Mathmech player that Luke Tyler is playing will probably secure him opening at least one, more likely even multiple of them. And then it's on Jack whether he will be able to pilot through these and end up with a good endport anyways. Because we have seen a little bit of the Scarecrow engine so far, but we haven't seen how it is reacting to hand traps that much so far. Because maybe it's just struggling versus one-hand interaction, then it's just going to pass. That's what Jack Verma is going to show us, hopefully, whether that's the case or not.
I mean, he's playing so many more different engines as well, so it's not just the Scarecrow deck, it is also Tearlaments and Dangers, which plays around hand traps like a charm, and also the Adventure engine, which is, sometimes it feels like designed to play around the hand interactions, because you can summon out the Griffin before you basically start anything with your deck.
That is indeed true. I really like the inclusion of the Adventure engine. This engine still sticks around, even though a lot of people were really not having it in their mind while preparing for that event. But I would say at least like 5 or 6 decks with that engine actually have managed to top here.
There are some, and it is still a great engine. It helps you break boards, it helps you set up boards. And let's see if this is going to happen again in Game 3 of the top 64 match between Jack and Luke.
It comes down to exactly this game. In this game, we will decide who will be one of our top 32 contenders, and one guy in here will be the unlucky one that does not make it any further.
However, you can still be proud to have achieved the top 64.
100%. And Jack is going to be the one starting it off. And I think I already see a Perler Rhino, which is never a good... Oh, super polymerization.
You also fit those in, by the way. So... that's another card, but Pellerino is always a great start, especially because he has the Sharon in hand, so he does not even have to search for something like a Rhino Heart or anything. He can just search for Visa Starfrost.
Oh yeah, that's a cool thing. Those engines actually, the Scarecrow and the Tearlaments engine, both of their field spells actually have Visa Starfrost in their name, so the synergy between the two engines is actually insane, if you're honest with yourself.
That is absolutely true, so let's see what Jack is searching out. It is actually the Rhino Heart, so he is probably trying to play around Droll and Lockbird a little.
That would be a very, very reasonable thing to do, because you know that Mathmech is just siding in a bunch of hand traps.
Oh, and he just said, okay, it is Ash Blossom on the Rhino Heart. So is the... Oh, there are plenty of more on the hand
that's what I saw as well.
Follow-up. So is Jack able to play around this again? Shiren is activated, and it discards the Shushinoko, which will not trigger in the GY. And wow, he hit the Water Enchantress. Not another name, but he hit the Water Enchantress. And now that we are seeing 2 level 4 Tearlament monsters on the field, Oh, he can't activate the Rite of Aramesia. He activated Rhino Heart.
That is indeed true. Rite of Aramesia is not a card he can activate here. And also he has to make sure, with that Super Polymerization in his hand, he needs to keep one card in his hand to actually successfully resolve it on his opponent's turn. So maybe he cannot even play on very much here.
So he's going for a rank 4, and I don't think he's playing the Time Thief Redoer. He has so many engines in his deck.
He does play the Time Thief Redoer.
Oh, really?
Yes, indeed. I think that might even be the only
How did he
rank
fit
4.
all those cards into this deck?
Oh, no, he's playing
Dweller as well.
and Dweller.
He's just playing every card there is. He just has a like 12,000 card deck.
Oh, we see
Redoer
double Veiler. I think a mining though as well.
I think you really want to Veiler this.
I would agree, most likely.
I'm pretty sure you want to Veiler this, because otherwise... Oh, well, actually, he can just redo again in the next turn, so you might want to Veiler a Kit Colors, probably. I'm not sure about this anymore.
Okay, we are resolving the fusion summoning effect of Shiren in the graveyard.
Yeah, go for the Kit Colors. It makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I will agree.
Imagine using Redoer and Standby Phase and detaching the Super Factorial. That would be crazy. So Kit Colors is being activated, and you have to throw Effect Veiler on this card. This is the heart and the soul of the Tearlament deck. Can't search, can't tribute itself to special summon out anything else. And now, of course, the Enchantress is being activated to search out Rite of Aramesia. However, Rite of Aramesia cannot be activated this turn.
But it would be a reasonable discard for the Super Polymerization, which we have already seen in his hand. And this is a pretty good interruption versus the Mathmech deck.
It really is.
Because this deck really wants to get 2 Cyberse monsters onto the board to then go into the rank 4 place. And if you just Super Polyvogues away, you're left with literally nothing if you have no more extenders. And we saw there aren't that many extenders in the hand of Luke.
Yeah, if he discards a Veiler for the Silent Mining, then I think he has a better chance.
So we're picking up another card.
Redoer attaches the Super Factorial! This is unreal! I absolutely jinxed this. I'm so sorry, Luke.
This is crazy.
How many is he playing?
He is playing the Super Factorial with a total number of, let me see, it's only one of them.
Oh
it's only the one Super Factorial, and it was just attached to the Time Thief Redoer right there.
This is so bad for Luke, but he has heard my praise. He discards Effect Veiler, cannot use it this turn anymore, so he is searching for another monster, the Circular. If he has to special summon out the Sigma and get Super Poly, he actually can still play a little bit with the Sigma in his hand for the normal summon.
Yeah, but honestly, the Super Factorial is the main reason why Mathmech is a contender in this meta game even, because you always not really care about the monsters you're putting out in your end board. You really want the trap.
Unless you OTK this turn.
Ooh, that's an option though. You're right, you're right.
We will see if Jack decides to Super Poly immediately when Sigma and Circular hit the field. If that is the case, Circular will still have triggered before and can search for the Equation. Equation can then summon out another monster. You will have the Sigma for the normal summon in hand, have another Cybers on the field, and then you can actually go for Access Code Talker. However, this is still a Time Thief Redoer that can put another open monster on the field on the top of the deck. Or another open card.
Yeah, he could just basically out the Access Code Talker in the end. So you can just chill and wait for it.
But he just shuffles back the Circular. This makes sense, to be honest.
Yep. Don't even give him the Circular Surge at any point.
Yeah. And Redoer sticks to the field, Jack. It's not going to be banished again. It needs a monster attached for that. However, this hit on the Super Factorial was really hard. Sigma is being activated now. You can't even go into Garura or Muddragon if he normal summons another Sigma to it, because Garura needs different names, by the way.
Yep, indeed true. So, Sigma is being special summoned. And Luke is once again looking for his graveyard. He sees the Super Factorial right there, making him sad.
Oh,
but looks like Luke is going for
this one
Linger
is
maybe.
Getting banished right there because it just activated the effect. And Linger is there to play around the
Oh yeah, it is already
Sully.
banished. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
So it is there to play around Sully. And it also plays around Super Poly a little bit.
Indeed.
Let's see how far he can go from here.
That's actually a pretty interesting thing.
Because he has Parallel Exceed in hand. This could actually be...
Oh, there's the Parallel Exceed bringing in some more speed there. This is an extender he needs right there, and he gets it right on the spot. But there's still a Super Polymerization, of course.
And remember, he has not normal summoned yet. So is there a way in which he can go into anything that removes the Super Polymerization and then go for Access Code with double attack? Also, please do not forget that there is still a Kit Colors. Well, if you have 5,300 attack points and double attack, you don't really care about the Kid Killers, right? You attack over it,
Absolutely
it doesn't
not.
trigger, and then you attack again for game.
That may be the game plan here, and I think Jack is very well aware of that. And he's actually just activating the super core
he is
organization
fusioning
here.
away the
Oh!
Lingeribo and the Kid Killers, probably for
And
a
therefore,
Mudragon of the
Paralytic
Swamp.
Seed has no zone to summon into anymore,
Yeah,
and the
that was
Paralytic
really
Seed will
strong.
just stay in hand. Unconventional play there, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work out just fine for him here.
Yeah. So, Dragostapelia even, because Kid Killers is a fusion monster. I haven't thought of that. Lingeribo, a dark monster, and now he can mill the 5 cards. Will he hit another name?
That doesn't
He does
look too good.
not hit another name. However, he has the Predaplant Dragostapelia. There are only 2 cards in hand. We know one is Paralytic Seed that doesn't do anything. And he has the Sigma that he has to set. Jack has all the tools to finish the game next turn.
And
Maybe.
it's back to him.
he
That
has the
Jack
tools.
entering the turn, and he's
Getting
again.
another circular.
We
Oh, wait, he
knew
didn't-
about the
He
circular,
didn't
of
even
course.
touch the deck. He didn't shuffle it because the Paralytic Seeds did not resolve. So, Jack can now calmly activate Rite of Aramesia, summon a token, and find his way to Griffin and bounce the set monster. And then he would have 8,000 or more attack points. So let's see if he can find this route, because he should know that there is a Paralytic Seed in hand. Jack has all the cards he needs.
There is the Rite of Aramesia you were just talking about. We will be getting out the token, and also, of course, we are activating Fateful Adventure, which was luckily not milled in the meantime. It's still sitting pretty in the deck, and it will still be able to get us to that Griffin Rider. We could also go Illegal Knight, but Illegal Knight, I think, was milled right at the beginning, right?
Yeah. So actually, if he doesn't have a way to trigger the Fateful Adventure, he will just have to search for a Griffin. Then at this one, discard the other card, Special Griffin, and then trigger the Fateful Adventure to get the Draco back.
Which works, though.
It absolutely works.
It's a bit weird, but it's just still enough damage on board. There's the
he
Draco
has
back.
the Draco back in hand. And special summons. He bought it out, the Griffin Rider, apparently.
Looks like
Just
it.
melted. He attacks for a game, and Jake advances to the top 32 of YCS Utrecht 2022.
Jack Verma, former German national champion, also wants to be our YCS Utrecht champion of 2022, and he moves on to top 32, and he is doing so with his Tearlaments Scareclaw
He has
Danger deck.
almost been in every top cut in the last few years. This guy is an absolute machine. He just keeps crushing opponents.
Absolutely, powerhouse. Back in the day, it was about the Alpha Guys cards. He took a completely different
Yeah.
approach now. He switched from control to combo.
I think he even took out the trap cards. He took out the trap cards of the Salomon Grid, of the Tearlament engine. So he's not on trap cards anymore.
True, absolutely not. I was wondering whether he could even fit in Salik, because you mentioned Salik at some point, and I was
Yeah.
like, there are so many different engines, so
Yeah.
many different cards in his deck. Still, there's triple Salik. I couldn't
Triple
imagine.
Salik? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there's
crazy to
triple
mill the
Salik.
card, but how many cards does he play?
That's
We
a
will
good
figure that
question.
out later.
That should probably be a question for Luke, for Ed at some point, definitely.
First of all, let's just check what the top 64 players are running, because we have the breakdown.
That's fantastic. Here we are.
Okay,
Oh,
so
no,
we have
that's
the
the
duelists.
players, first
I'm
of all.
sorry for that.
And
So-
this is pretty insane, because we have Diego Gancelli actually being first after Swiss, and Diego Gancelli, I can spoiler you that, is on Fluando Reese.
Yeah, he absolutely crushed Swiss with Fluanderies.
Yeah, and it's not even a spoiler,
Yeah.
because he was on the featured match, actually.
Yeah. We have another player called Guillaume. I don't think it's the one we had on the featured match, because he was bubbling. We have Dinkang Pham, a German legend who almost reached the finals of YCS London. There
Yeah.
was...
For sure. Then we have the
Great
Luke
game.
Tyler, which we just had on
Yeah.
featured match. 7th after Swiss, but still on a wait. He could have not played Jack Verma in that situation. That's not really possible from that. But let's just go over just a list of the players, I would assume.
Yeah.
We also have, of course, Joshua Schmidt there, Daniel Hartmann. And yeah, I think it's just the
I think it's
matchups
the
right after
pairings.
each other, right?
It's
yeah,
the
it's the
pairings.
pairings. Now we have figured it
That
out, because
makes sense, yeah.
Joshua Schmidt has been playing versus Daniel Hartmann right there. Then also another pretty cool matchup we have up there is Alex Robertson versus Sirai Jiang, a very successful UK player, and he also is playing a pretty cool deck. I can promise you that already. And then one big name is right at the bottom there, Zio Mandri.
Yeah, Zio Mandri is actually playing against Lucas Vase, a guy I know. He's been also performing really well, but Zio again advances to the top cut, so maybe this time he can actually win a title.
Yeah, if you don't know this guy, probably you do, because Antwerpen hasn't been that long. He's our second place finisher of the Euros we just had. And then we also have Themistoklis Gigis from Greece, so Greece is also still going strong. Playing versus Lucas Lancelot, also a very known player from France.
He's
so
probably going to play Infernobles.
That has to be the case, I'm pretty sure, for sure.
Marvin Kammerer, also a famous Swiss player. Oliver Kosch. Kai Chora, also a really nice German player, facing another friendly German player who is Nico Schlierkamp, who already won a YCS, and he is actually Basti's top contender for this tournament.
Yep, I said that before the event. I think he's going to win because he not only won a YCS, he just won a YCS here in Utrecht. So he's actually known here in that area. He knows how to pilot the deck in here. He knows how to win a tournament here in Utrecht, and therefore he's definitely comfortable playing here. But there's more big names coming here on the second half of the top 64.
Philipp Weidinger has also been performing in the latest YCSs and Euros and Nationals, by the way.
Yeah, he's just topping them all.
Yeah. Dinka Bui is I don't even think I have to mention him. The name stands for itself. Dinka Bui is such a crazy player, playing versus Gianluca Sarchina.
Yeah, still quite a few Italian names also still in competition, as I see Flaminio Rossi as well, Daniele Stella up there too. And Imran Kanjadun, another German player, also topping a lot lately. I've seen in every top cut too. As you said, German Nationals, Euros, he was everywhere basically.
Daniele Stella versus Sebastian Blumers. Sebastian Blumers playing an interesting deck.
That could come into our hands as well later on today.
So what else do we have? We have Joshua Ostman, a card that has been really active in remote duel tournaments.
A card. You mean a player.
Joshua
and he's
Ostman,
also, he found pretty interesting cards as well though. Pretty interesting cards because he's on a very, very rogue deck, which we might feature later on as well. So if you see Joshua Ostman in the featured match area, you would be pretty happy about it because he's playing a cool deck too.
Then we have former Worlds competitor Jonas Koschel. This name is music in every Yu-Gi-Oh! Player's ears. He finished day one undefeated in games. He finished 9-0 and didn't lose a single round. Then we have
That's
Thomas
already
Rose,
quite impressive by itself, right?
Another YCS champion who actually beat Jonas Koschel in the finals of YCS Düsseldorf.
YCS Düsseldorf it was.
Gabriel Soucy, former European champion. Juho Ahn, also a German player who played really well in Smith. And then we have Flavio Palumbo as well, another famous Italian player.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. A lot of great names. One of them just managed to win top 64. He's now ready with that for the winner's interview. So please, let's get over to Jack Verma and our host at.
Thank you, Sebastian. Yes, I am joined by Jack, who's just won this top 64 round here on the second day of YCS Utrecht, now getting into the top 32. You've told me before that you've topped a couple of tournaments. How does it feel now to be in the top 32 of this year's Utrecht?
It feels good since I was on the bubble since round 6 or 7, so it felt good, yeah.
Excellent. So now you're really pushing out on top. So talk to us a little bit about the game, because initially you managed to stop a lot of Luke's combos and things like a Nibiru. You opened with a really great hand and you were comboing off loads of cards. From the moment that you started with the draw, were you pretty confident with how that was going to go?
Yeah, the hand was pretty strong, but the 6th card kind of rescued my hand since there was the 2nd tier missing. And yeah, I knew I can't stop him his entire turn, and he has to hard draw the trap, otherwise he loses. And yeah, then I still managed to win due to the trap, through the trap. So yeah, it was enough my end. Yeah.
And then we go into game 2. There was quite a few moments where you cycloned the Superfactorial, and then there was that rivalry of the Warlords that you had to play around and stuff. But then you scooped, and just because that was a very strong field from him. So were you starting to feel a bit nervous around then, or did you feel confident that you could probably bring it back in game 3?
It depends on his hand. If he opens 2 or 3 hand traps and I don't open with right or anything, then it could be difficult, but I still got it, so yeah.
And then we came into game 3 where you had a fantastic moment where you stole Luke's Superfactorial, and that was probably the start of the end for Luke there. So when that happened, were you just sort of like, I have to go for game now, I have to finish this?
I think there are 9 traps in this deck, 3 rivalry, 1 or 2 of the traps, 1 time the pop trap and 3 imperm, so it's not that unlikely to hit one of them. But I think the Mourner and the Super Poly would still stop his entire turn.
Which it did, because that Super Poly helped you really secure that win right at the end. So an amazing first game for us in this top cut. Congratulations again. I hope the rest of the top cut goes well for you. Perhaps we'll see you in the final, but best of luck. Guys, do not go anywhere, because we've got the top 32 and all the other matches coming right up.